Hi, it's Lel from Made by Marley, and today I am going to be showing you how to do this beautiful look on an old chest. It's got a sort of hand painted sort of jewel-like quality about it using our brand new stamps. And today I'm going to be showing you how to use the Bloom stamp and the Fable stamp. Okay, what are we starting with to kick off Made by Marley week? This is an old wooden chest. I paid £20 for it. I bought it at the same time as I bought there's one coming up during the week, an angel chest that I'm making. I think these are really good buys, and these work so well for sort of kind of Bohemian projects. I always think they're gnarly enough. I'm not fixing it. I'm not doing anything with its dips, chings, bashes. That's not what we're going to be doing. So what am I going to paint it with today? I'm going to be painting it with a mix of Primer Red and Tyrion Plum, which has made this very rich, plummy, dark sort of colour, which I really like. I'm trying to keep my palette quite dark because we are doing the autumn release. So it has been cleaned. It is what it is. But I'm going to try and do something. I want a background, but I don't want a blend, but I do want a sort of patchiness. So let's just kind of see what we can what we can do here. Whatever I do on this front panel, I'll repeat on all. I'll probably do the back of this one as well because it's one that can be put in the middle of the room. So let's just make sure I get plenty of paint on here to do this first. Now you can see I've got quite a lot of paint on my brush, but don't worry about that because I have to reverse back a little bit here. So that's our starter, I think, which I'm quite happy with. Now, I'm wanting to mix up a sort of, what would we say? An orange, but I want to take the edge off it a little bit. So I'm putting, in my Barcelona orange, I'm putting a little bit of sandalwood red just to take the edge off it. I used a new brush today, and do you know what? I'm using another new one. There's a little bit of water in that because it came straight out of my paint sink, but yeah, I just want to take the edge off that orange a little bit. I'm not particularly looking for a coral. Am I liking that? Oh. So I'm going to put this orange here. Yeah, I'm liking that. And I'm looking to make a sort of, what would we say? A sort of bright violet. But I should have maybe thought about this before I started. So I want some old ochre as my base. I'm using the tin because I just filled up my pots and this is what's left over. I'm going to put some Frida Blue in it. Yeah. And I think I'll just pop a little bit of the Tyrion Plum in there and let's see what this comes out at. I might need a little bit of red of the tones because I can see it's going to be very blue. Don't worry about it. So let's just get some red, not pink, I don't want red. Here we go. This is Emperor's Silk. I think I'll know it when I see it. Not really bright enough, I don't think. But it is a variation of what we've got. I better hurry up and mix it or my paint will start to be drying. Well, let's just go for this just now. I'm just going to put this on with a little brush. Yeah. As I said, we're just trying to do something that we kind of like as a base. There we go. Now I'm going to take a big body brush. And because I put a lot of paint on it, I shouldn't need a lot of water for this. And let's just see what we can do with this. I'm just sweeping it across it. Now, slow it down. I was kind of in my head thinking a sort of a tunnel look. With this big brush, it really kind of, for me, I don't use it very often because to me it always overblends things. But that's okay, I mean, for this look. I just don't want it plain. I want something, I think, a bit like that. But I'm going to just introduce a little bit of this darker down this bottom bone. And the same, maybe up, just right up this top part and down these edges. So again, I'm just skimming it over on here. And this, I think, is going to be a sort of seasonal kind of base for what I'm about to do. So there we go. I'm quite happy with that. What are you thinking, Martin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to get on, do all 4 sides, dry it off, and we will get to the exciting part. Okay, I cannot believe that I've got to this stage where I have managed to make my own stamps. It has taken a couple of years in the making, and obviously quite a big investment for Made by Marley, because we're just a wee company, but we finally got them. So today I'm going to be using, maybe I've got 3 sets available, but I think I'm going to maybe taking some out of all of the sets. But predominantly I'm going to be using the flower set, which is called Bloom. And if you're thinking of buying Made by Marley stamps, this is how they come. Now, when they're cut up, I felt like the A4 packaging is much easier to store, so you can sit them upright on a shelf. This is a waterproof envelope, which means that, you know, it's wipeable, so you can, just once you've washed your stamps, laid them out to dry, just pop them back in here. Shut them up with the envelope, and they're easy to store. There's no big massive ones that sometimes don't work on furniture. They're all furniture sized. So, but that's not to say if you're a crafter that you can't use them. So this is how they come. This one here is called Karma. Tell you what I'll do, I'll just show you on my white mix mat. So I have a peacock, and there's a shape here and a lovely border. This border can be continued all along your shape. I thought that would be brilliant for the fronts of drawers. This, I think, would be awesome in a big long line of the peacocks, because I actually have the other matching bird, which goes the opposite way. Let me just get them right. In this stamp set, yeah? Because there's nothing worse than having everything going the same way. You want them going in different directions. So, and it also has these other shapes that I thought could be incorporated with the peacock. But I'm not going to be using Karma just yet, because, as I said, I'm going to be using Bloom. Now, how do you, when they come like this, all you simply do is cut around them, yeah? I tried sanding and not sanding, and it didn't make any difference to these stamps. So, you know, you could lightly sand them if you're worried about adhesion of paint or ink, but to me, it didn't make any difference. Now, when I made these, I decided, and this was another thing that I went out on a limb for. I'll just show you on this sheet. Quite often with stamps, it comes on a really hard backing, but the hard backing, when you go to put your stamps down on your furniture, isn't always easy to manipulate. So you just peel off your top layer, right? And you've got this thinner layer underneath, and I'll show you it in ones that are already cut up. So I'm just going to I've just cut these up and I put them back in the envelope like that after I had used them. So these ones here have been all cut out. Now, the back looks really flimsy on them, but it's invaluable, I think, when you put that stamp down, because what you're doing is you can manipulate the size of the plastic to make sure you get all your edges, where when it's a hard plastic, it's too rigid to do that with. Also, keeping them on these, you can still bend them with this plastic, which makes it easier to go around furniture and awkward things like circles, balls. I mean, why would you want to do a ball? But you never know. You know what I mean. Shaped items or details. So today I'm going to be starting off using the Bloom. So I'm just going to get it out. It comes with, let me just show you on my mix mat again. Very professional. It comes with this sleeve. Now this one all links together, and it's an unusual one. It's not stamps that these are all paintable. So every one I'm showing you is a paintable stamp, either with stamp it, paint it, stamp it. And if you're not sure what that is, it's where you stamp it and you paint it in, and then you stamp it again to get all the relief around the edges. But I've made them that there's such big apertures, but you're not losing any of the detail. You can still paint them. They're highly kind of like linkable, so they can all link together to make a pattern. I've always wanted stamps that you can go, right, so this could go onto here, and this flower could come off of here. I've got a gap here, I'm going to put a leaf on. So this was designed in my brain. Designed well. I've got extra flowers if you want to fill in the gaps, and flyaways for that gives you some details. So this is Bloom, and I'm so excited about using this. I've only ever really did tests with this one. I haven't actually physically used it, so this is good. So how are we going to be doing this? What I'm going to do is I'm going to be using paint today, because obviously I've mixed up my paint. Let me just run through the paint again. This is the orange, but unfortunately I got a little bit confused and put a little bit of blue in it by mistake, but I don't think it's the end of the world. It's made a sort of rusty orange. This is the same colour we painted this with, but I added a little bit of Oxford Navy to darken it up. This here is a little bit of Frida Blue, a little bit of Florence, a little bit of Provence, and a little bit of Antibes Green. Just a little bit of each. And this here is the one that you saw me mix up before. Nothing's happened to that. So I'll just move all these other stamps to the side, because I can mix and match them as we go. Turn around. It's quite hard to turn around in Martin's Crocs. He was looking for them this morning, but they were on my feet.
I looked everywhere for them this morning. But I don't understand it. And then Lil came down the stairs.
Martin's a size 12, I'm a size 6, so there's 6 sizes too big for me, but I don't mind. I think he's on to me because he's ordered me a pair of Crocs and they're coming today. He wants his Crocs back.
I do.
Right, okay.
They're my favourite.
I know they are. They're the fur-lined. Yeah. Right, so I am going to be stamping, I think, with the green as my sort of, am I? Oh, choices. Yeah, I think I'm going to stamp with the green. So let's just kind of get an idea of how I want this to flow. I didn't cut off some of my sharp edges in this. I was so giddy to use it that I just got going. I want this to come here. I want this maybe to come off that one here. Do you know what? I'm just going to wing it. I think that's the best fun about stamps, isn't it? Right, okay, so I'm going to get a brush to put the paint on the palette, because if not, I'll saturate my palette straight away. So, there we go.
Excuse me.
Oh, yeah, you're excused. Just getting rid of my excess ink. Paint, sorry. Now, this is where you have to be a kind of contortionist if you're me. Now, at this point in time, you don't need to use a mini roller. You can use a big one, but I like the little mini ones. I think they're handy. Make sure you stamp it up. Now, remember, when you're stamping on chalk paint with paint, you want it juicy, but you don't want it too smudgy either. So there's a happy medium. And this isn't going to be a crazy standy out colour. If I wanted it to stand out more, I could have picked the orange. Now, I want to keep it away a bit because I want to do a border at some point. There is nothing like stamping with your own stamps that you designed yourself. Yeah. Make sure I get everywhere. And this is where that's what I was saying about the softer plastic. Can you see? I'm able to run it around the edges more, and edges quite often get forgotten. But with this thinner plastic, yeah, I was kind of pleased. I thought about everything I wanted. Right, okay, and this is how this is going to stamp. And I'm just going to do, I think I'll do another one of these, just along a bit. But I'm going to have to be, again, a bit of a contortionist. Let's pop that down there, because that's the first thing that's going to fall, isn't it? You know it. Ink it up again, but not too much ink. But then again, you need plenty. You'll know, I would do, if you're new to stamping and you're buying any Made by Marley stamps, I would practice on a board first if you're new to it, just to get your eye in for what you're doing. I think that makes complete sense. Get rid of your excess on your roller. And you just make sure that you've got it all, because I missed a wee bit of my leaf up there. And I am going to link this one onto here like that. Make sure you go touch all the surfaces, and voila. Now I'm going to change my stamp now. Now, always have a pot of hot water beside you. I actually do have one, but not roasting hot, just a little bit hot, because you don't want to melt your stamps. I'm going to bring this one down here, but I think I need something central first, like maybe one of these little flowers to link it. I haven't made up my mind whether I'm doing stamp it yet, or whether I'm just going to paint it in. I think the choice completely is yours. I tested out, I don't know if you have seen anything on my socials, but I put a reel out last week in the sort of lead up to coming out to the release, where I had actually watercoloured some of my stamps, and they looked really good in watercolours. I think I'll over ink that one. Never mind. They're my stamps. I will fix it in a minute. I think I'm getting too giddy with the ink, with the paint. Try that again. It's a mess. Now, if you do something like that, I'm not bothered about it, because it's going to be painted in and it will get fixed as we go. So, do I want this one? I think I want this one kind of joining onto here. Do I want that leaf? I'm not going to push it any further than here. There's still, even with it being thinner plastic, there's still enough that this isn't actually really touching the surface. So, you know, don't worry. Here. Do you see what I mean about the colour I've picked? It's not roaring in your face, because we're going to be painting it in with brighter colours, and we need a sort of darker colour that kind of blends in. I'm kind of going for a blendy look. Right, let's try this flower again. This is a different flower. I think I'll have this going this way here. Now, I am going to get on, and I'm going to do the whole of the top of this chest with these flowers. In fact, you know what? I'm going to get on and I'm going to do all the sides in the centre. I'm going to try and keep the border around the edge, but I can run the border over this design. So it's just that this is a lot of groundwork to cover. I'm going to do that flower again in a minute, just so you can see that it does actually stamp lovely. Excuse me, I have got the cold. I didn't even put enough paint on that one. Now I've got cloth, this little sponge. If you feel you've put too much paint on your stamp, just clean your stamp off, yeah, so that it's now not sticking in it, and just go for it again. Right, pop that flower here. So I'm going to get on and I'm going to do stamping back, two sides, front, with these flowers panels in the middle, leaving about this much around the edge. But if I have to stamp over the flowers, I have to stamp over them. I'm not worried about it. And when we come back, I'll show you how I'll probably just paint in the back and the two sides, so that we can paint the front, the top together kind of thing. There we go. See? Just take your time. What else have I not shown you in this set, just so that you get an idea? Like, if you wanted to put an extra leaf in here, no problem. That's why they're developed the way they are, that they all link together. So, you know, if you think, right, I'm going to need a bit of a leaf going on here, just stick it in like that. Now, a little bit of paint on there. I'm going to get on, do the whole chest out. Okay, I've stamped it all out with the green. Now, whatever I do on this panel will be exactly the same on the sides and the top and the other side. In fact, the other sides have already been done to that stage, so, you know, it's just the same. Now, I want to paint this with colours underneath, and I am going to re-stamp over it with gold, but keeping some of the green. So I think it's just time to get a little bit sort of arty with it. So what I did add, which is an addition to my palette here, is I added a little bit of red just to mix in with this colour here. Now, you don't have to be Picasso at this stage. You're just putting some colours underneath it. Bearing in mind, this is a kind of like autumnal feeling piece. So make sure you get sort of your reds and your oranges mixed together if you're putting them onto the purple. And these are unusual colours for me to pick together. I'm quite surprised at myself that I'm kind of embracing the purple, but I do like it. It's kind of really plummy and rich looking. So with the big flowers, I'm just kind of doing that. Wash my brush. I just used the turquoise for in here on the branches. And some of these I did this colour, and you can see I'm being quite rough because I just suppose the stamp so that it's got a bit of shadowing in it. So you can really at this stage do whatever you like. I'm not changing my brush, and I'm going into the dark purple. Let's do the centres of here purple, and maybe this leaf purple, and going into the really light pink. Well, the light purple. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to keep some of the outline whilst doing a sort of painterly job in the centre. Doesn't matter, you're going over the detail because you're going to come back over this with the gold. I mean, I think you know what I'm doing. I could have done it stylised and had it stamped with ink, because ink and paint do two different things. When you paint with ink, it is very precise and it does a really good job. But when you paint with paint, it gives you a completely different look, that hand-painted look, which I quite like. So you could do a bit of both, but our stamps work for both looks, whatever you want to do. There's no problem with that. It's just, I think, really what you want your choice to be. I think I want to make this one purple with a little bit of the darker pink in it as well, the gold. And you can see I'm keeping some of the turquoise in that. Wash my brush. And in with the orange up in here. So you're not missing. I'm not skipping steps here. You're just seeing this evolve real time. It's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do all of my little flowers like this. Now, I kind of just made a pattern on all sides, and on the sides, because they were just small, I just kind of put some of the shapes around the handle. Let's do this one now. So plenty of your autumnal colours in this, because you want it to have that look once you're finished. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, when it's in July, nobody will know that you painted it with autumnal colours, but you'll know. And when it's, I mean, leave your message in the comments, because I'm always interested about this. Do you kind of change your palette colour with the seasons? I kind of tend to lean towards sort of darker colours, although I'm kind of like all colours, but sometimes I like a darker colour in the autumn. Be nice to stage this out. What are you going to say, Marley?
I wasn't going to say anything.
I thought you were going to say something nice to me. Like, look at you, Lel.
Look at you, Lel.
Oh, by the way, I got
new stamps.
I got new Crocs as well. They came, so I've got my Crocs on. So that's me. I've officially hit that.
How long will they stay like that?
I don't know why I picked cream.
Next week, I'll do another shot of her Crocs and we'll see what they look like.
I know.
Only a week.
I know. I wasn't blessed with the sort of, let's keep it tidy. It's the job I do. It's the job I do.
I know, really.
It is the job I do. Right,
and
okay.
When they get really nasty, we'll just get a new pair.
Well, that's it. That's it. I think I'm entering my slouchy era. I used to laugh at people that wore Crocs, but now I don't. I go, oh, Crocs, how comfortable.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, I used to, at work, I used to wear high heels every single day. It didn't bother me. Now I could even wear high heels to a party. Some dark leaves up in here. So you get the gist. There's a whole load of hilarity going on here from you saying to you, you know, just kind of do your own sort of kind of vibes. So I'm going to get on. And before I go away, I want to show you what's coming next, because I can paint these in. Once I've got all of these painted in, I am going to do two things. One of them is I'm going to take a kind of fluffy, puffy brush, right? And down here in my palette, I am going to, this is odd, add some orange and add some of this pinky purple. Yeah? I'm going to mix them together to get this sort of lighter shade. I'll just want a wee bit more orange into that. I'm going to offload quite a lot of my paint. Yeah? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, using my finger, a sort of aged kind of look in between all of my shapes now. It looks much more exciting when they've all been painted in, but it's just so you know, I'm going to do this bottom part. It kind of gives it a kind of time-worn look, and plus it kind of, with it being a lighter and you kind of putting it onto the darker, it kind of gives it, I don't know, sort of, it gives it a nice look. That's all I'm trying to say here. So I'm going to get on, paint all these. We'll come back and we'll stamp them in with the gold. Okay. Okay, so once you've painted the patterning kind of roughly, a little bit painterly, I want to get my stamp, and with gold paint, I want to paint up my stamp with the gold. Now, when I go to put it on, I want to have it not back over the same. I want to have it slightly off, so it's got that shadowy sort of kind of modern way of, you know, quite often you find a pattern with a pattern, but the edges are not on it. So all you need to do is kind of line it up and then kind of move it a little bit. So you can see how much I've moved it, quite a bit, because there's the shape there and here's the stamp. I think it just gives it something else. Plus, it's not very often I do this kind of, I normally am a bit more precise with a stamp it, paint it, stamp it. So I thought this is a bit fun. And it's also a different way to showcase the stamps. So once you've flattened that on and you feel you've touched everywhere, just pull it off. And I have the same here, so I'll just do the same one again quickly, and then we'll move on to a different one. Now, once we have got to this stage, next thing we're gonna plan out is, I want to darken around this edge, because this edge, you'll see it, every side has been brought up to the same spec. It's all the same as this. Every side I've done, it's the same thing, so you're not missing. Now remember, sometimes I forget and I try and fit it back on the shape. But we need to darken up these edges, because you saw me yesterday put the lighter colour in between it all, which gives it that sort of aged feel. And then we're going to have to decide what stamps that I want to use next, because I want to have borders and things happening on this. So, right, so that's this one, and I'll show you this one next, and then you get an idea of how this is going to look when it's all stamped in. All right. What did I do with this one? Did I do the whole thing? Yeah, I did. It just takes a minute to kind of work out. Now, what I will say for self-care purposes is you will have to make sure that you have a basin ready to put these in, because you're putting top coat in the gold and you need to make sure that it comes back off your stamps. So have a basin ready. I have washed these stamps so many times during this process. And what I have found is after about the 5th, 6th wash, they're starting to come off the back. And all I have used is purple spray, which I have here to show you. I just used stick and spray just to spray them back onto the plastics. And they're as good as new again. So I just washed the plastic and the stamp the last time round and just stuck it all back together. I do think it's good to have this plastic on the back, if not your stamp. I have learned in the past from that. But as I said, I developed this so that it's nice and soft plastic around it, so that you can get all the edges, because when it's hard, they're not as bendable either. So that is how that one's going to look. So I'm going to get on and I'm going to stamp all of that, but with the darker purple, this colour here that we used, we made a bit darker. I'm going to get some of this, and like I did yesterday. Now, you're probably not going to see much of this, because we are going to come along and we're going to be putting stamps on the edges, but for argument's sake, I'm darkening up all these edges. Now, on the front, there's a little bit of trim, but on the back, this is the back I'm doing currently. But I've said this before, when I do pieces like this, that could potentially, the customer might want to sit them in the middle of the room. And if it'll look a bit weird if you want to sit in the middle of the room and the side isn't painted. So I'm just doing this and then making sure that it's kind of faded like we did with the centres with the lighter colour. If you find that it's not fading up nicely the way you'd like it, then what to do is just add a little bit of water to your paint, to your finger even, which would make it even better. And this is all I'm going to do. Finish off my gold, put my stamps in the water, because these ones are not going to be used again. And that is really important. Stamp care is really important. It's as important as stencil care, but stamp care in particular is important. I think I might do a little video on stamp and stencil care, just so everybody's on the same page, because they have to be treated differently, but they still need to be cared for. Right, okay, so I think you get the gist of that. That sort of ages, that sort of cloudiness ages up the edges. But as I said, how much of this are we going to see? I don't know. Just makes me feel happy. So I'll get on and do that. I think what I could probably do is set us off before Martin goes away, because Martin is busy, busy, busy. Just move that out of the way for a minute. Move my gold over, and if I do this, you can see that all my sides have been done as well. Just blend that darker edge into there like that. Now, I'm just going to off camera twirl this around before Martin goes away, and we'll set the scene for the next lot of stamping. Okay, I am going to be using this stamp, which is from Fable. Now, I'm going to be doing Stamp It, Paint It, Stamp It on this edge here. So I've got Fable and I've got my Stays On ink. And I have, doesn't matter if this doesn't stamp perfectly, because I'm only going to be doing kind of half of it. So, and it just fits in. I designed this on Mendy sort of painting, like henna. Right, so we've got that shape there, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get a tiny, tiny Echo brush and get the orange from yesterday. And with the orange paint, I am going to roughly, a bit too much water in my brush here. It might need 2 coats. I am going to stamp back over the top of this, so you're going over your pattern, because that's just a thin line, but I have to tidy it all up, make sure my strokes are all tidy. So I'm going to do this on all sides, and we'll come back and we will stamp onto it with maybe some teal coloured ink, I think, because it pulls together the whole design. But you can see I'm just kind of, you can see what I'm doing. I'm picking the shape and then I'm just going around it quite crudely. I do kind of want a bit smoother edges than what I've currently got. I might have to finesse this a little bit off camera, but I think you can see how that's going to look. This side, all the long sides I'm going to be doing that like that. And all of these are the other stamps that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using this border. No, that's not how I said I was going to do it. I'm going to be using this one with this one on a repeat along here. However, I want to paint this band, the blue from yesterday. So let me just get a brush and some blue. I left my paint out last night, very naughty. I put my gold in a bag, but I didn't do anything with this. I was getting ready for my live and I forgot to cover it up. Edge face. What I'm going to do up here is, and I think normally I would say I sort of just a kind of halfway house between distressed and solidly painting. We're kind of leaving some of the purple, but not much of the purple. It's not like when we do the distress with the roller and there's a whole load of colours showing through, just a little bit. So the top edge, on all the sides is going to be painted this colour. which will tie everything together nicely. And again, because it's quite a rough old chest, it's doing quite a lot of the distressing for me. I'm not really having to work too hard about making it look distressed. A little bit of, yeah, I think that's probably enough. Yeah, so that's going to be that colour. So when you come back, all the sides will have this colour on. And this down the bottom, this stamp here is going to go down the bottom here. And I thought down the bottom I would use this nice pinky purple. So at this point in stage, I am just going to be guessing. I've got a rough idea how thick my stamp is. So I'm just going to put a band along here. You can see I'm not even using an element of measuring. So on every side, I'm going to do what I've just shown you. I'm going to start off with doing appointments for the edges before we come back and we stamp over this. But I think that's probably maybe just a little bit higher. Here's your stamp as a guide. I will be getting a small brush to take that purple right into that. So I am going to get on and prepare all my sides for these stamps that I'm going to apply, okay? And we'll be back very shortly. But I think the look is unusual. I think the darker plum colour that I put around the edges, I might put it along this band here now, because obviously I lost a lot of my depth when I did the. I've lost my mind.
What colour you just painted there?
The really dark one.
It's right behind you.
It's behind me.
It's behind you.
It's behind me. So again, this is when I put the depth on before. I'm just wanting to reintroduce that, like that. I might, for the sake of argument, when this is dry, put it back, put that dark line back in there before I stamp it. In fact, I think I will. So imagine this was dry. I'm just going to do the same thing with the dark purple along there, because I think that grounds it a little bit, makes it look a little bit older than it is. Well, it is old, but you know, like the paintwork older. There, now, happy days. I'm going to get on and get all that done. So after I did the orange, I am now inking up my stamp with teal blue. Is it? Let me just check. Teal blue, yeah. And I am trying my best to get it over the top of this, but because you've painted it in and it's slightly larger than the shape anyway, it's quite forgiving, so you don't have to worry about that too much. And then just make sure you touch every part, everywhere around it. And again, we want this part here. I maybe should have re-inked it for this part here. I've been a little bit lazy, but if I need to go back over the top of it, I will. I just need to go to here. Right, so that's how that's going to look. Then we take some gold and a liner. How do I know? Because I took a photograph of it on my phone from the other side. That's what I normally do. I think I've shown you that before, but it just keeps you on the straight and narrow. If not, like me, sometimes I just go completely off piste and all sides are different. I think it's up to you what you want to, what you're going to get out of this. So twirly, and I'm just going around this in the sort of pattern shape, like that, all the way down. Whoops, big blob of gold. There's another fix I need to do. Twirly, my glue is quite gold. Sorry, it's quite thick. It's been sitting near my heater, I think. Down here. Now, I made a bit of a schoolboy error. I've got to fix this bit here. I went and painted in this bottom section, and I don't have another bit like this to do, but I'm going to be doing a bit on the side, which I can show you this stamp. So I'm not too worried about that. So once you've done that, clean off and then just pick a colour out of whatever colour palette, and then just to kind of give this a little bit of an oomph. I'm just going to do it in here. Now I'm going to give these edges a little bit of a sand, just so they're a little bit not so pristine. Even though it's been stamped on in a sort of distressed way, I want it to be that it's not as... The thing about ink is it always makes it look a little bit more pristine compared to the paint. So you kind of got a fine line of what you're looking for. So I'll kind of give that just a wee bit of a sand. Now the top we have these two stamps, and what I did was stamp them first, painted in this square, and I'm just going to go along with the same colour of ink on this, which is the teal. And I'm going to do all my little tiles first, because these go in here. I would pick the bit to film when I'm near a hinge. It's always the same, you know. Whoop. That there, and then you've got this big... This is a lovely border. I can imagine this being quite nice. I'm excited to use these from now on. I mean, I'll still be using all my other stamps, but these make a really good addition because there's all the Bohemian things that I like in it because I've made them. So I'm quite giddy about this. This on here, and then we're going to go back to... I just love the stamped look. I think it just gives it a whole new look. This one on here. Oh, I keep moving them. It's always on the you know what, everything's good when you're just painting, and then the camera comes out and it just goes awry. So these are going to go along here, like so, and just fit it into that section there. And as you can see, I'm a bit below that, but it goes with the offsetting of the flowers, so I'm okay. Now, once I've got all of this done all the way to the other end, yeah, I then came along with the gold again, and I put a gold line at the top. Check I'm not leaving it, and I just kind of went kind of like this along the edge of the top. I'm not at a really good angle for this, but I will be tidying this up off that. Oh, sorry, I'm whispering. It's a good job I've got my microphone back. You've never heard that. I also ran the gold in this little section here. Along there, so you've got gold. I'm touching things with gold. If you have a little bit of a boo-boo and you touch it, just get some of your paint and just blend it back in. That's just the purple and the orange mix that I used to kind of cloud out the blend. That way you can clean all that up. So you can see how this is going to work out. I've got the stamp to go in there, and that's going to go along there. You've seen the gold and the colour, which I'm going to do there. This part here, I went and stupidly went and did it off camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the piece on the side, because I'm going to be doing this stamp on the side of this, and that way I can show you. And then when I turn it round, I still have the top. What I did on the top, let me just talk about the top briefly. Just slide this back down. The top, I did the orange all the way around, and I still have that to stamp in. And then probably, well, when I get to that stage, I'll come back and I'll show you me putting the gold on it. But it's starting to come out really nice. I'll just flip this round, and I need to obviously get my phone to look at the picture, because the sides are slightly different. You can see I've told you that I just flipped it round on its so this is the other side, see? So this is how I know if it's keeping me, flowers are going round it. So I need to do an orange border and the orange border down the side. So that's the same drill. Let me try and reach over and get my orange. And we're slowly creeping closer and closer to getting this finished. Again, I'm using a small brush, and I'll tell you why I'm using a small brush, because it gives it brush strokes and it helps with your distress. If you use a great big paintbrush on this, it'll smooth it all out, and you're not wanting that. You know, it's kind of what goes with the vibe. So this is going to go along here. I painted the handles in gold when I was running last night before I kind of finished up. I thought I didn't want to leave too much gold in my little pot overnight. I thought it'll dry up quite quickly. So I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll bag up what I've got left, but I'll just quickly do those handles. Now they will going to need it. I think I'm going to give them another coat just so they're really shiny. So I'm just getting this to the stage where I'm going to go off and dry this so that I can come straight back and I can show you the nice border that I'm going to be putting across here, okay? Now this is very awkward for me to show you because I always say stamp on a hard surface, so it's a little bit awkward, but just roll this back over. And this is going to go along here like so. This is a really nice one, this one. And it's very easily, because they're paintable stamps, it's incredibly easy to paint in. So that looks like that. And I'll see if I can just stretch over and ink this up a little bit more. Bet you this isn't straight. You know what it's like. As I just said, when I'm on camera, it just all goes to pot. Oh, see? Nope, never mind. Right, okay, so what did I do here? I've got the picture of it. Let me just see. I did a purple, which is this purple over here. Oh. Purple line, which goes, and it's the light purple, not the dark. I'm just using a liner to line out. It's a very limited palette, this piece, to be honest with you, but it looks like there's a lot of colours. The only addition I kind of messed with was I put a little bit of red in the flowers when I was blending them out, because it just made them a little bit brighter and a wee bit more with the autumnal sort of kind of feeling of colours. I wouldn't say that purple isn't a particularly autumnal colour, but the rest I think are quite nice. So because I've went slightly off here, I'm just going to bring that up. Yeah, and it has gold. And this is where you can fix any sort of boo-boos, because when I come along, I'll just straighten it. So I hope. I'll go along here like this. Yeah. I'll paint under here. So, and then what I'll do is I will back on my stamp and I'll stamp it back over the top of that. And did I go over that in the gold? I didn't. Oh, I know what I did with this. With this one, I got some purple, and what I did was I brought it right up to here and eradicated. And I'm just dipping in the dark and the light and just going along it, just so that I got rid of quite a lot of the it gives it another bit of something, but you don't need to fill this in either. Painting furniture in this sort of style, I always try and impart as much as I can, but I think it's quite intuitive what you think you should paint and what you think you should leave. And I think that's really down to you. If you think, oh, people in my area won't get the fact that they'll think it's only a half-finished job or whatever, you know, you just have to kind of think about it and go, that's because I like that orange edge under there, but that's really your sort of vibe. I don't know what I've done over this other side. I think I've went and brought this down. See, this is what I mean. None of them are ever the same. I'm just going to do this because I can. I quite enjoy when the sides don't all match anyway. it gives that appearance and the look of hand painted, and it has been hand painted, lovingly hand stamped, hasn't it, Martin? Lovingly. I've just said to Martin, why is this taking so long when I'm in such a rush? But it's just, I think things just take longer because you put an effort into them and they take time. I didn't expect this to take 3 days. I did have to finish a wee bit early last night because I'm alive, and I pondered doing a little bit more last night, but I was just too tired. Right, and the last thing I did was I took a little bit of the red. I'm just going to pop it a little bit of that red into this orange here, and I just want you to see no, this is not the right brush for the job, as you can see, because my little liner is absolutely overlaid into here. But now, if you were a perfection freak, you would fix this, but I'm not going to. No, there, here. I've still got this pattern here to go down the sides, but you've seen every bit of me putting all of the pattern together now. You've seen me do that, which is the bottom band of here. Yeah. I didn't put the blue on it on this side. I put the purple on it, but on the front and the back, I did the blue. I'm trying to think if you missed anything else. You know what I'm going to be doing with the top. I'm going to spin it now to the front so you can see the front before I come back and do this. And then we will get it to the stage where I don't know if I'm actually going to, I might come back and you can see me sand it, but so this is how it looks so far. Oh, I ran just a rough gold line, obviously in a distressed way. You don't want to make that look solid. That would be kicked and bashed and stuff like that. So this is how it all currently looks. I think it's looking pretty good, but once this has had a little bit of sand and a bed down, I think I'll be a wee bit happier with it. I think if I was being a little bit sort of trying to kind of keep it the way I want it, I would probably just bring this orange to this gold line here in a sort of kind of rough, distressed way so that there's not that purple before you get to the gold line. Does that make sense? I think it does. Just with a rough kind of. Yeah, see, that looks better than that purple line, I think. Oop. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I seem to have got quite tired and I'm making a wee few. Right. How does that look, Matty?
Yep.
Yeah? So I'll get on and do these other things that I've got to do, the stamping. Then I'll maybe come back and show you me doing a wee bit of light sanding. And then I'm going to seal this piece, I think, with wax. And, oh no, I'm not. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to seal it with hard tough coat sealer, top coat first. I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to dark wax it around the edges, I think. I think that will be what I would like to do with that. Okay? Okay, so the piece has been sealed and sanded. You can see it looks less perfect, like stamped. It didn't match this, so now it does. It's now all a little bit kind of the same. Now I'm going to take my wax and I'm really going to darken it all up round about the edges first with this dark. Take it on at the top as well. Now, I think the trick is, because I have a propensity, it's a good word, Martin, isn't it?
It is.
To go a little bit mad, but I don't want to. I just want to keep it round my sort of edges. I'm moving away from where Martin's got to film, but we'll come back round to that. I just want you to see what I'm doing, just a little bit. Can you see how it's given it a little bit more depth along there? That's the thing about wax. That's why it's there, and because it's been sealed before, I don't need to worry about having clear wax underneath it because it's quite malleable. And if I didn't like it, I could just put some clear wax on it and rub it off. So, right, so you've got quite a bit on it there. Now, just kind of don't mind that chunkier bit there being that dark. I think that's good. There we go. Trick is not to try and eradicate too much of the gold at the bottom. I think I would bring it just in beside the gold, like kind of here. You don't need it everywhere. Just making sure you kind of rub it over. You can put some up on the design as well. If you really, the wax part is really your kind of what you want to do here. So I'm putting it on quite thick, the same way I applied the sort of moodiness before. And I always like a sort of darker under a lid. I don't know why. It's like a corner. If you've been watching me long enough, you know. You could almost probably have a quiz at where will she put it in. I think you'd know. Isn't that true?
I guess.
Yeah. Because I think that really gives it a nice depth underneath there. All these little paint effects really help your stamp work. And they're not tricky to do. They're just little effects that make it work. Obviously, there's a keyhole here. I decided not to go with anything and put no handle on it. I thought that would just kind of, I quite liked it just the way it was. You can bring that down like it's had something musty on it, kind of grubby. Also, you could put a wee bit of grubbiness here as if it once had a handle underneath there. So this is what I'm going to do to all sides, and then we'll get this bad boy staged out and we'll have a wee chat about it. Okay? Okay. Fini. Was this tricky? No. Did I try different things than I normally do? Yeah, I tried to be a little bit different. I like all the accents, the dark sort of aging. It's very jewel-like. It's got a very sort of, it's got a nice quality about it. It's not too bright and it's not too dark. I think it's got about everything, and I love my new gold, and remember what's inside this. So for this, you know, I'll use the Bloom stamp, which is the flowers, this one, and I used Fable, which is this one, and it has the borders in it. So I use this border, and this border, and this tile. But if you haven't seen Fable, it's really nice as well. It's kind of folk arty with a little bit of a twist. And last but not least, this one here is called Karma, and it's got the peacocks, and we've got them. We can use them, you know, I'm not just did one peacock, I've got two, so they're together like that. And if you have wonder what that looks like, boom, I've done this plate. In fact, I've did a set of 4. Martin and I are going to use them as charger plates. So yeah, peacock. And if you want to see more about what Fable looks like, I did this the other night just as a wee test piece. I did it with watercolour paints, which I never paint stamps with watercolour. I just stamped it first, then watercoloured over the top of it with some black ink. The wood wasn't even painted behind it. I just aged it up with some watercolour. So I like this, so I'm going to frame this all out now, but that was what I did with my stamps. So if you have enjoyed this video, remember that for the whole week, this week, there will be a tutorial, a little either craft at Christmas or Halloween, or just because, or a stamping project every night this week, all the way through to next Sunday, because this is the Made by Marley Wonder Week. Marty and I will see you every night this week. Martin, do you have anything to add?
Lucky them, eh?
I know.
No, we're really excited to show you what we're bringing to you. We hope you love.
Also got my Lels Lusters.
Yeah,
giving you the hard sell today.
Gold. It's really exciting, and yeah, we hope you like what we have got to show you this week.
Okay, if you like this video, give us a like, give us a share, give us a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. It really helps to grow our channel. So we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye bye.